Aaron Rodgers, who shit on Favre for the way that he handled his end in Green Bay, you're acting worse than Favre did at the end of Green Bay. You're making Favre look like a saint.
Welcome back to Tipsy Tailgate. I'm Aiden.
I'm Ben.
And we're on the camera right now. A little bit new look, issues, technical
Studio's
difficulties.
letting us down 2 weeks in a row here, people.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Sorry we couldn't get the pod to you guys last week, obviously. Same things happened. If you don't follow us on Instagram already at Tipsy Tailgate Media, we updated our fans.
Unbelievable, Aiden.
Full episode, no audio. You know, you hate to see it. Almost happened this time before we caught it, and we were able to do a little switch up. So now we're riding with this. Probably looks much, much better, to be honest, and we're probably going to use this camera full time going forward at some point when the weather gets nice. But without further ado, because we missed last episode, let's do what we did a little bit there. NBA favorites, finals pick, underdog, dark horse teams, players that are impressing us, players that are disappointing us. What do we got for, let's go straight up, NBA final pick, and then we'll work from there.
My NBA finals picks are going to be the Bucks and the Nuggets. I know that a lot of people are taking the Celtics, but I don't think they have the coaching. I've said it all year. They don't have the coaching to make it to the finals this year. I know that they just named Mazzulla as their long-term head coach, even though I think that's a mistake. I think the Bucks are better. I think they're better coached. I think Giannis is the best player in the world. I do love the Celtics. I'm a diehard Celtics fan, but I mean they just don't have the firepower, and they don't have the proper mixture of the firepower and the coaching that they had last year, which is what helped them beat Milwaukee. And Milwaukee didn't even have Middleton last year, so I'm gonna go with Milwaukee winning the East, and I'm gonna go with your Denver Nuggets coming out of the West, Aiden. I see a lot of people. Again, a lot of people are taking, like, the Suns. No one on the Suns ever played together. Like, KD is just coming in. That's hard to fix on the fly, so I'm going to go with the Nuggets. They have an established culture, and Jokic is going to win another MVP, so I'm going to go with the Nuggets.
Okay. So it's hard to pick against the Bucks in the East. They're on a 12-game winning streak, and as you said, Giannis is unstoppable. So from my point of view, out of the West, I am a Nuggets fan, as you said, and I think we're filthy. I just think we're so good. I think this is the year that we need to make a deep run into the finals. When you look at it, last year and all the years prior, we've been good, but we've had injuries, whether it's Jamal Murray, whether it's MPJ.
It's always Murray.
Yeah, I mean,
always Murray.
So now you get the opportunity with Jokic, Murray, MPJ. You got Aaron Gordon, who's playing like an all-star snub maybe. He's playing phenomenal this year, almost averaging a double-double, I believe. And then you got guys like Caldwell Pope. I mean, there's so many playmakers where we have the problem used to be we had too much depth and we didn't have enough star power. Now I feel like we have enough of both.
Well, you have a top 3 player in the world. You have one of the, before he kept getting hurt, one of the better sidekicks in the entire NBA,
and a very clutch one at that. And Jamal,
and and then
Aaron Gordon's been playing great so far, and he's been defensively he's been phenomenal.
Yes, so. And you also have, on top of those other guys, you have a lot of depth, as you just said. MPJ, he's there.
I mean, a great guy that...
Even a guy like Jeff Green or Reggie Jackson. These are good players. So, I mean, I think with the combination of Jokic, he's going to win his third straight MVP. He's going to be the first player since Larry Bird to do so. He's going to do that.
Been 30-something years.
Basically a lock. He's going to do it.
He's so good.
And then you throw in those other pieces. And then they also, another team, they have great coaching. So, I mean,
always.
I just think that the Nuggets, as you said, this is the year that they finally have to do it. It reminds me of Dirk's like mid-2000s teams, middle of the 2000s, where everyone was just like, all right, well, now it's time for you to take this step and go forward and make a deep run. I don't necessarily think the Nuggets will win the championship, but I think it's going to be a big step for them in the right direction to go on this deep run finally, as you said, and go to the NBA Finals.
It's the year. It's the year that they have to do it. But as you were saying, good coaching, like, it's just been a thing of ours. Like, Mike Malone now, George Karl, like, these guys, like, legitimately the year we won, George Karl, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year, both guys left. We fired George Karl, and our GM left. Doesn't make sense to me. But looks like they found good replacements, and I think we're here to stay for a while, so as long as Jokic is. Now, two other players in the West that I do think could threaten us is the Clippers and the Suns if they can figure out their chemistry in time. I don't want to rule out the Warriors. Yep. I do think it's a little bit of a stretch this year, being that they're under 500 at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm not ruling them out.
I'm not ruling out the Lakers.
Really?
I'm not.
Interesting.
They're still only 3 games back from being in a solidified playoff spot. And you have LeBron James. You have Anthony Davis. I know we've been saying this for a few years now, but when they're playing at their best, those are two of the top 6, 7 players in the world playing at their best and when they're healthy. And then this reminds me so much, this team. I don't know if you remember the 2018 Cavs team when they traded all those assets in the middle of the season and basically just rebuilt the team on the fly.
Yeah.
They essentially did the same thing here, and this reminds me a lot of that. So I think that they're going to – I'm not saying they're going to make a deep run or anything, but they are definitely a playoff team in LA.
Yeah. And then out of the East, as I was saying, I do think the Bucks are phenomenal.
Yeah.
I like the C's, though, and I like it to be a Tipsy Tailgate Bowl. My Denver Nuggets versus your Boston Celtics.
That would be great. I would take us. I think we would win.
Yeah?
I do think we would win.
I think that would make the best series.
Yeah, it would be the most entertaining series.
I think most entertaining series, yeah.
Because I think their styles match up. You have both of our fives. You got Jokic and you got Williams. That would be a great matchup on each other. You got the wings with Tatum and Brown, and then MPJ and Jamal Murray and Marcus Smart going at it. So I think that would be a really good series in terms of style, but I still think that the Bucks are far better than us.
Okay, now for your couple, just a quick go, dark horse teams to just watch out for. Obviously, you said the Lakers. Is there another team, maybe a team in the East?
Dark horse team, the Heat. The Heat just have a winning culture.
Yeah, agreed.
Anytime Pat Riley's involved in anything to do with basketball, I'm not going to rule that team out. So I'm going to go with the Heat.
That was actually going to be mine, so I think we'll just go to the next one right after that. So, players that are impressing / disappointing, your MVP pick, obviously you have Jokic. Is there anyone else that has kind of impressed you a little bit more than you thought, or the opposite?
Honestly, I'm just going to go with the team for this one. And it's going to be the Warriors because they just piss me off when they play like this. I compliment them every single year because of how dominant they have been and how they seem to always stay hungry. And that was part of this team won 73 games and then got Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Like they're always trying to improve, or were always trying to improve, always trying to grow. And then they're just kind of fucking around this year. So that pisses me off. Excuse me.
Agreed. No, I do.
So I'm going to go with the Warriors.
I do agree with that. If I had to do one for mine, I'm probably going with the Bulls. I really thought that roster was, primed to have a solid run at things this year. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of disappointing.
That's a great pick.
That's a great pick. So now there's also the fact that there's teams like the Hornets that looked promising, and then obviously stuff happens. Miles Bridges. That's another team that's, the Thunder. They're a team that I guess is impressive. I mean, it's not like their record's that great. They're one spot ahead of the Lakers right now at the 12th. Yeah. 2 spots ahead of the Lakers at the 11th. And, they're in the full rebuilding phase. I like what they're doing. I really like this roster, and they have the most picks by probably any sports team in the world right now. The amount of first rounders, second rounders for the next however many years. So that's a team that's promising, and you got to give your credit to the Kings and the Grizzlies that are built around young cores and are 2 and 3 right now in the
Yep.
West. So Aaron Rodgers is out of the darkness retreat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you have a take on him not being loyal or not being committed
Yep.
because he went in for 4 days, 4 nights, and he only lasted 2 days and 2 nights.
Yeah, you Mr. Non-committal. Listen, Colin Cowherd says it all the time. I'm not trying to get into the guy's personal life. He's never been married, and he's like 40 years old, and he's a star quarterback. It's a little weird. I mean, he's got some commitment issues. Something's going on there. It just, to me, that shows that he's really just like not an enjoyable person to be around. That you're an NFL quarterback with all this money.
Maybe they kicked him out after 2 days. Maybe they were like, "Oh, we hate you."
You know what? I just, everything about him.
So now that he's out,
he can't commit to anything. He's a loser. He's such a loser.
He can't even commit to doing 4 days.
No,
in
literally,
the retreat.
he made this whole big thing about, well, I'm going to go into my darkness retreat, and it's going to be a really rewarding experience, and everybody should follow my lead because I'm so much smarter than everybody else, and I'm so much better than everybody else. And then he leaves 2 days early? You leave 2 days early.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
He's a loser.
It's a bad look.
Then I don't know if this is confirmed at all. I don't know if it's confirmed, but I think our friend Jason Tags, very unlikable. Very unlikable.
Very unlikable. Very unlikable.
He was saying that Rodgers said he came out of the retreat and he saw green and yellow. So, like, that's really what this is all about. Like, you're just coming out, you're like seeing how long.
If he goes back to the Packers,
how long are you
going
to be held hostage by this guy? If you're the Green Bay Packers,
I heard
how long?
Well, there's reports that
but
they're
then
done.
those reports
Then
came
who
out and
knows?
said that they're done, that they're not done, and that those reports that they were done were false. This is such a shit show in Green Bay. Part of the advantage of having a Hall of Fame franchise quarterback is that you don't have to deal with the drama that comes along with the NFL.
Yeah.
You have a sense of stability. You have a sense of commitment. You get none of that with him.
No.
Half of the thing that you're supposed to reap the benefit of with having a franchise Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks ever, is that you don't have to deal with this drama. And all he does is bring in drama. And the guy, Aaron Rodgers, who shit on Favre for the way that he handled his end in Green Bay, you're acting worse than Favre did at the end of Green Bay. You're making Favre look like a saint when he was at the end of Green Bay.
Yeah.
So it's the most hypocritical, most bullshit, most asinine mentality I've ever seen from a professional athlete. Aaron Rodgers is a joke and a clown. Any Jets fan who wants him, Godspeed. Godspeed.
All right, so now that he's out of his retreat, where do you think he lands? Where do you think
Green
he
Bay.
goes?
He's going to go back to Green Bay.
If he does all this to go to Green Bay,
He's gonna go back to Green Bay.
God.
It's going to be the most. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about. I don't care where he goes. I don't care. That's my answer. I don't care. Wherever he goes, they're not going to win anything.
I think the fact that he went in for 4 days and that he left after 2, I feel like he kind of realized that, oh, like, what am I doing? Like he kind of like snapped out of it. He's like, oh, what am I doing? And then I feel like he realized, like, I've got like 2 to 3 more years tops in this league. Let me enjoy myself. I'm going to Vegas. Like, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going with Devontae, and I'm just going to get hammered on weekends, and I'm going to show up late to practice.
He's going to be drinking that tea, that hallucination tea.
He might be on it right now. Like, who knows?
He might be on it 24/7.
No, it's very possible. So, that's my prediction. You're going Packers?
Yes.
Okay. So, I have a little thing I want to get into real quick. There's a lot going on with the MLB, and obviously we're in spring training. We're moving towards the start of the season. And with that, there are some new rules that we need to get ourselves accustomed with. And this is important.
I am a fan of a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big changes.
Yeah.
And especially for baseball purists like us, we know how important some of these are.
Yes.
So let's go into it. So there's 3 elements to these new rules. There's a pitch timer. That's the first one.
I love that. I love the pitch clock.
The pitch timer, when there's nobody on, it's 30 seconds between batters is the time that you're allotted, and 15 seconds between pitches. Now, when there's a runner on, there's only 20 seconds between pitches. So 5 more seconds when there's a runner on. A pitcher must go into motion before the expiration of the timer. If he doesn't, then it's an automatic ball. It's an auto ball. Now
I didn't know that.
No, listen,
Oh
it gets
my
crazier.
God.
The pitcher is allowed 2 disengagements, which is one's like a step off, the other one's like a pick off. The third time he does it, if he
He has
doesn't
to get out, right?
if he doesn't get an out recorded on the play, it's a balk.
Oh my god.
So like look for base runners, speedy guys to be all over it.
That's
Now,
definitely a deterrent.
yeah. Now you got batters must be in the box and alerted by the 8-second mark, or it's an automatic strike, which is interesting because 8 seconds is nothing. Like to get an auto strike, pitchers can only make one forward motion and one backwards motion in their windup at the start of the delivery and no more. So guys like Kenley Jansen that like did like the whole Craig Kimbrell, if he goes back again, only once. Once forward, one back, and then that's it. Pitchers from the stretch can still tap their feet, but they must come at a complete stop at some point. Pitchers who bounce on their foot or twitch their knee makes it unclear when they start their pitch's delivery, which means they have to switch their windup or their just entire routine. So guys like Kenley Jansen and the Astros' Luis Garcia, who are 2 very like highly touted pitchers in the league, they have to switch what they're doing. And the MLB approached them because they studied who has the most vulnerable windups for this new rule change. Now, the second rule change is shift restrictions. Teams must have a minimum of 4 players within the outer boundary of the infield, which means the dirt. Minimum of 4 players in the dirt. They must have 2 players on either side of the base. So if you're looking at the base like this, it's not a line down the middle. It's a line at each corner. So corner here from first to second must be behind there and the other way around. Now, the other thing with that is
these teams are so gonna find a way around it.
Yeah,
they're so gonna find a way around it.
But the other thing with that is if they don't do that or there's a error with it, then it's an automatic ball.
This is fine.
It's crazy. Motion, you can't do motion defense. So the whole notion of all right, while the pitcher moves his leg, you run over there and cover a side. You can't do that, or that's illegal. Then middle inning switching. So like say Manny Machado's at third, and there's a big lefty pull hitter, and the Padres want Machado on the right side. They cannot switch in mid inning. He has to stay there. That's illegal. Couple more things. Each infielder must have their feet entirely in the dirt. No outfield. So no infielders with their feet on the grass. Not allowed. And then, like NFL is, teams can decline or accept violations. So if Rafael Devers hits a home run on a pitch where IKF has his feet on the grass of the outfield, the Red Sox could decline it for a home run or accept it and take the auto ball. Okay? And then 2 last things. Outfielders can still shift. So if they want to roll with 2 outfielders and one of them plays the shallow infield, on the outfield grass as well, they are allowed to do that. It's just going to be less outfielders. And then the last thing is bigger bases. Bases are now 18 inches on each side instead of 15 inches. So these are huge rules. Like if they implement, when I was playing high school, like if they implemented these rules that we had to learn on the spot within a couple months before the season, I know for a fact it would cause a lot of problems. Like there would be so many balks, so many auto strikes, auto balls, and it's a game changer.
And
really.
it's really gonna throw a lot of teams off.
And pitchers are gonna be.
And I think not even to just make this about the Red Sox, because I think they suck. It's gonna make bad teams more competitive. Yeah. It's gonna make bad teams a lot more competitive.
And teams that could understand the rules better by having a better manager like Alex Cora. And if he explains it enough and he gets everyone on the same page, it'll help. It's basically the less penalties you get in football, like the better chance you have to win. It's going to be like that. Similarly.
It's become that kind of game plan in baseball, where you become a disciplined baseball team. You don't take the penalties, and shit like that. So I mean, I'm a fan of nearly all of these rules. One thing I was wondering while you were going over the new rules for the pitchers. Does that affect a guy like Nestor Cortez at all? The way that he winds up and kind of,
I'm sure it does. So because of it, in order to know when the clock. There's a timer guy. There's a guy there at the stadium that works the clock.
I guess my question is,
yeah.
Does the timer stop, like, as soon as you lift your leg?
I think once you go into motion.
Okay.
Then you're good.
So he can still do his thing.
He could do his whole, like, in terms of, like, the Johnny Cueto, like, all that.
Yeah.
Yes. But it would be interesting if they count, because you could do one forward motion, one backward motion. It would be interesting if they count, you know, how Cueto does like that.
Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting if they count that, even though it's in the motion while his legs are already up, so it might not.
They're going to turn a blind eye to a lot of that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's either they enforce it really strictly and it comes out, like, multiple times in each game, or they kind of lay loose for a little bit, at least the first season, maybe the first half of the season.
What they should do, one thing the NHL does correctly every season is when they want to enforce a rule harder, they call it every single time for the first 2 months of the season. And it's like, oh my God, like, how many times are we going to call this?
That's what they might do.
And then by the end of the season, you don't have to call it as much because no one's doing it anymore. So maybe that's how they go about it, which would be a smart move.
That's what they might do, yeah.
But there are going to be a lot of people pissed off about these rules. A lot of pitchers in particular, because pitchers are babies.
Yeah.
Pitchers are the biggest babies
psychos
in sports.
Too.
Yeah.
They're psychos.
Yeah, they make quarterbacks look like...
They make Aaron Rodgers look like a good guy.
Yeah, they make Aaron Rodgers look enjoyable to be around. So I wouldn't go that far.
All right. I mean, we're gonna be ripping out a lot of MLB content this year. We're gonna be going to games. We're gonna be doing live content.
I can't wait.
Speaking Sox, we might also make a second podcast for baseball. We're still debating on that. But Tipsy Tailgate Media, follow us on all socials, cop the merch, and support us. Follow us on TikTok. A lot of clips there if you're not following. Instagram as well. YouTube, of course, is where the podcast is. Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well to listen to audio only. And thank you guys for listening.
We'll see you.
Wait. What's up?
Tell them to start DMing topic ideas.
Oh, yeah, and DM us with any topic
unless
ideas.
Unless it's a stupid idea, then don't.
Yeah, unless your name is Tags.
Yeah.
Unless your name is Jason Tags.
Ideas, questions, topics, whatever you have, DM us, shoot. And if you want to come on as a guest as well. So,
yes.
Thanks for listening.